everybody, and welcome to today's episode where we have got some big stuff to talk about. When I'm saying big, I'm talking about Jupiter. We're going to talk about Jupiter in Taurus. And I'm so excited because Irlianna, you came back.
Yay!
You didn't
Yay!
scare you off or anything.
I missed you so much. I need my Stormy Grace shot.
And you know what I think is so great is that I feel like every time I see you, this very big, like I'm here and I'm friendly energy of your hair makes me very happy. It makes me very happy. And I just feel like you are the person that you get in there and you say, you know, what do you think about Jupiter and Taurus? And then you have to like grab your cup because it's going to get really good.
Right? Yeah. When I wrote to you, I put girls gone wild. Jupiter, Taurus, your Taurus placement's mine. I'm like, all right. If there was a principal in the room, we'd be getting in trouble.
Absolutely. But thank you for coming back and thank you for exploring this topic with us today.
Oh, yes, absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Absolutely. Okay, you guys. So I'm going to make sure, just some housekeeping, I'm going to make sure that all of the information for you to connect, find out more, explore resources is underneath this video in the description box down below. And also, you've got a beautiful offer for our friends, right?
Oh, yes, yes. You so inspire me. And because, you know, now 2023 is upon us, and in the spirit of the new year, I just thought, here is my practice is called Star Sound Astrology, and I'm giving away a free deluxe session if you hit the subscribe button on my YouTube page, the Star Sound Astrology YouTube page, and then you email me. I'll put your name in a drawing. So for 2023, yay!
Absolutely. And I mean, what's more fantastic than, first of all, supporting other people in the astrology industry, especially because we're all out here putting out a lot of information, tracking what's going on and reporting back. So what a great way to support. But then also in exchange, having an opportunity to have one of us that stargaze into your particular chart. So thank you for that offer. That is absolutely kind of you.
You're more than welcome. And I just also want to say, if I could name, and I don't know who has the power to this, but if I were to name an asteroid, I'd name it after you. Asteroid Stormy Grace. They have people, John Lennon, they have, you know, famous people, David Bowie, Stormy Grace. I mean, you know.
I'm going to be looking into this. I probably need an asteroid. Like, see, you can tell Jupiter's moving into Taurus because I'm like, how can I get bigger?
Right. With Uranus in the mix, it's going to be in outer space.
Right. Talk about Uranus in the mix, because not once have I ever thought to myself, oh, I should get an asteroid until Uranus gets in the mix, and then we're getting big and it's getting weird. It's getting, right? We've got a lot going on. All right. Let's jump in here. Let's talk about Jupiter's transit into the energy of Taurus. So one of the things to kind of keep in mind, you guys, first and foremost, before we start to talk about the bigger cycles is, you know, what is Jupiter about in the first place? Now, a couple things. Remember, one, you could always go back into the YouTube Academy free classes playlist that we have and check out the classes where we're talking specifically about the planets. Okay, so go in, check it out. I'll make sure there's a link around here so you can click to it. But also, Jupiter, this massive planet that is like got that big eye on it, right? Like that big sandy eye is the all-seeing, all-knowing, our wisdom-keeping planet. And it's just got faith, value, expansion, opportunity wrapped up in it. When you look at and you work with Jupiter, how do you describe that?
Yes, everything you said. Also, optimism, confidence. I also remember, and I am not a science geek by any means, but I remember reading about I want to say it's the gravitational pull of Jupiter, you know, because it's the biggest planet in the solar system, you know, even bigger than Saturn. It has this huge, obviously, magnetic pull. And I think about when, you know, I had a friend who, God bless her, she's not on the Earth plane anymore, but I know she's here with me right now. And she was a Sag. And she had this kind of presence. Sag, of course, the sun, Jupiter, you know, ruled by Sag. And it is, it's like you know, come to me. And it's like the king or the queen, you know, come to me. So it's this huge pull. and it's exciting, and it's like leave your small self behind and think big.
Yeah, yeah, that bigger picture. It's really grand. When I look at Jupiter in a natal chart, the perception I take with it is that you're kind of preloaded with the wisdom of that sign and that particular placement, but you can't keep it or actualize it unless you expand it out and like give it away. It's kind of your give it away to keep it placement, because through the sharing and the expanding out is how you evolve, right? And so it's a really, man, it's the I want to improve, I want to go bigger kind of
yes, improvement is huge. Yeah, self-improvement.
Yeah, and so in that realm of improvement of things, this is where we see laws. We see Jupiter with laws, with gurus, belief systems, rituals, teachers, things like that. The places we go to expand and improve the situations that we have in our lives. I think, did I miss anything? Did I leave anything out?
No, you got it all. Rights and the judicial system, right? Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Intuition and prophecy too is part of the mix.
Yeah, because you raise a lot of awareness when you're dealing with a Jupiterian energy, and it is going to raise your awareness, I assure you, of what's going on. But so now we've got that planet that's got this huge impact, this gravitational pull moving into Taurus, who is funny because Taurus doesn't really want to be like shaken, it does like, I'm okay. I don't need to expand, at least not quickly anyways, which is not always, I think, in balance necessarily with Jupiter's energy, because Jupiter's like, yeah, let's just go. Let's just do it. And Taurus is like, So
right. Fixed Earth.
That's like asking a mountain, would it like to expand? It's like, good to go.
Right. You want to shoot that arrow into the sky? I'll take you with me. And it's like,
I know, like, good luck dragging a mountain on an arrow, right?
Right.
So kind of this place, though, when I think about Jupiter bringing that wisdom and that expansion into the energy of Taurus, we have to understand our Taurus qualities as well. So we're looking into relationships, we're looking into beauty, we're looking into finances, and the things in our lives that have values, the values that we stand on as well. Then they're fixed earth. We are living and building and moving on them in a daily way. What else do you think about Taurus qualities that will light up here?
Taurus, persistence, stability, very much. Let's keep our wits about. Let's be practical. Let's be efficient and practical. So Jupiter coming along could be like all this huge largesse of Jupiter, but it's got to contend with, okay, that's great, but let's be practical. Let's be real. Grounded.
Yeah. Reliable. So it's this interesting place where Jupiter just wants to expand, go out, see what's next, push the horizons. But now we need to do that in very practical ways while also raising our awareness. So it seems interesting that in this fixed earth sign, we're going to look at these concepts that ground us to this material plane and what we do know, what we don't know, and where we've got to grow in them. And there's no real way to kind of get around it. One of the concepts, we were kind of discussing this a little bit, is that as Jupiter also moves into this energy of Taurus, it is coming to the space where the nodes have been traveling. So we're all pulled towards kind of what's next. Uranus is also in the mix, so really shook up some things in that fixed earth. And now we need to expand our awareness of what to do with it. So one of the immediate things I think of is it is our destiny to find the gems of wisdom and information that each of us possess and turn them into resources where we can sustain ourselves.
That's beautiful, right? Higher wisdom, philosophy, yoga, spirituality, all very Jupiterian, right?
Right. And with Uranus, we've moved into this space of the digital revolution for sure. So it's like this place where you thought, oh, I worked on a farm for 30 years, or I raised children, or I was an accountant, or I did this, and it's not your jam anymore. It's the wisdom that you can take to turn into a digital course, or you can teach digitally, or you can share in your community sector and realize the real value and wisdom that comes with that from you. And that becomes a resource.
Yes, yes, that this is going to be a great year for that, for people. You know, I think about gardeners too,
Yes.
and how everybody, we've heard so much around with the supply chain being squeezed with the pandemic and everything that has happened in the last few years. You know, how this, what a great opportunity to find, talk about faith, hope, confidence, and optimism, finding that in the earth. And, you know, reconnecting with the earth is a huge piece of this transit in a way, and on a scale, like you said earlier, just a little minute ago, Stormie, when you said about the nodes in Uranus, it kind of, I was going to bring that up, you know, Uranus has kind of been paving the way for how we deal with the earth, with Taurus, and then, and the money system and our values and our self-worth and the self-worth of women and the goddess, you know, all of that is like so big. And Jupiter's coming along like, it's like the gas pedal. I always say Saturn's the brake pedal, Jupiter's the gas pedal. So it's just going to expand it, like hopefully we, you know, and there are many, many good things. There have been many sad, catastrophic things around the earth, like all the forest fires that have happened out west and the drought and such, but then there's also the confidence and the optimism. So it's like, don't lose faith. You know, Jupiter's all about faith, you know, and that there's faith and optimism and abundance and material wealth and spiritual wealth to be found in the simplest, most practical things like gardening.
Absolutely.
Or other
Absolutely.
earth-related.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because it really is. It's like, what are the simplistic things? Like, what are your basics? How do you feed yourself? How do you pay for things in your life? What are the values that you stand on? And where do you invest your time, money, loyalty, faith, and energy? These are like the ground level, fixed earth things that we've got to have an understanding of in order to proceed forward. Right?
Yes.
And Taurus is an enduring energy. So what we'll have the opportunity to build and to address at this time will sustain us. But Jupiter, we bring wisdom, and we have opportunity to develop wisdom, which means that Jupiter is not always coming along sprinkling his little luck on you, right? I think that you build wisdom through experience. If this is not kind of tightened up, or you haven't expanded what's going on in this area, you've got to walk through the experience to gain the wisdom. But the wisdom that you gain will be enduring, right?
And yeah, in practical wisdom is very, very strong, very highlighted. Yeah. And the planet in Vedic astrology, Jupiter is called Guru, like the same spelling, right? Guru, the teacher. So maybe being taught by, you know, I would think like becoming a master gardener, for example. That would be a really cool goal, or some kind of mastery, whether it's an official program like Master Gardener, but something like that would be really super juicy for this, very auspicious for this timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Self-reliance with this wisdom.
Absolutely, right? Because I think today, you know, at least in the United States, let's just give the United States, if the food situation went sideways, would half of us be able to walk into our backyards, know how to start a garden, know how to tend it, know when to turn those crops? You know, do we know how to work with our money and make sure our money's making money? These kinds of things, that it's like, those are some real questions I think we have to be able to answer in terms of our sustainability and having our needs met.
You know, I have a great visual for you as you're saying that. It flashed on me. Maybe I don't know if it's still on the air, but in the 60s, there was this sitcom, and it was Green Acres with Eddie Albert and Eva Gabor. You know, I'm sure it's probably, find it somewhere on Netflix. And, you know, for those of you guys that are, you know, pretty young to this, I remember this thing. It was, you know, it's this man who was a farmer, and he fell in love with Eva Gabor, Zsa Zsa Gabor's sister, and she's this and she was on Park Avenue, and she fell in love, and she came to live with him on the farm. So it was obviously this fish out of water. and she was wearing like feather boas and jewels, and he had like, dungarees and a pitchfork, and they were trying to get along. And I think about Jupiter and Taurus with that visual of like, okay, where in our life have we been in this comfort zone and all? And it's like, but then there's this reality called, wait a minute, Jupiter and Taurus wants to say, give up the feather boa. And with Uranus in the mix, it's like, change your values.
Yeah.
Change your, it's not the value, it's not how many diamonds you own or what, or whatever our comfort zone is, in her world. It was funny, but not funny when you think about the earth right now. So there's a huge environmental signature that is going along with this. And I think if we can look at it in that way, it's like the invitation to drop all that grandeur and excess, and put that excess and that grandeur into the earth and the wisdom that comes from that. So drop the Jar Jar Gabor or Ava Gabor thing and become like Eddie Albert.
Right. Well, in any of these examples, what we're also invited to is a practice and a conversation of patience. Right? Whatever we're going to learn next, whatever we're going to develop next, first of all, needs to have some pretty clear, practical, tangible. Taurus only cares about the tangible things. Can I touch it? Does it create a resource? Right? So, and it may take us some time to be able to do that, or to understand how to create it, or have to wait for it to come to fruition, these kinds of things. But in the end, not only do we develop all the patience in the world, like, don't pray for patience, people. Don't do that. Right. You don't need to. You're going to be offered an abundance of opportunities to practice it anyways. Don't pay for extra, but then we'll develop, then we'll develop that resource, on the other side. So I want to get into the actual transit of it, but I want us to think back as well, because I like to pattern track the last time that Jupiter was in the energy of Taurus. What was going on in your life? So think back to summertime 2011. What was happening in your life in the Taurus areas of your chart? What was going on for you at that time, actually?
Me, I can pull up the chart. I have the Jupiter ingress chart here.
Oh yeah.
You can, So this is for Washington, D.C., but of course doesn't matter where the city, but here's the ingress. And
look at that.
Yeah, I want to talk about this after that. Our next conversation is this exact square with Pluto. Oh my God, talk about a major yellow highlighter pen, But anyway, yes, previous cycles. So let's see, Jupiter in Taurus, previous cycle, 2011.
2012, right?
Yeah. It says here June 4th, 2011. So there it is. It's about every 11 to 12 years. It will a little more than 11, between 11 and 12 years. 2011, I remember, you wanted to know me personally, what was going on?
Yeah.
I remember I went to Ecuador in that time period. Jupiter, of course, really long distance or foreign travel. And I actually wanted to move there. There was a period of time in that time period where I'm like, gosh, I'd love to be, maybe I should be an expat and move there. It was like the #1 move to place in the world was like, especially for Americans, was Ecuador. I don't know if it still is, but I was very moved by that, and that's where I wanted to expand. And but then the Taurus part of me got serious and like, no, and I ended up not, but I stayed here. But I felt like, and I wanted a garden there, and like live close to the earth. But that conversation was going on for me in that time period. I had gone in like April, May, and then June, July, August, I was looking at, researching it. So
yeah, that's fascinating. And I had taken a break, and I was making my way back into radio. I took a job as a radio news and weather reporter at a station I had worked at before. And I'm a ninth house sun, so it was publishing, marketing, broadcasting, and I went right back in it. I also put down and had started to pick back up my master's program, all in that same kind of time frame right there. So, I mean, it was just like the spot on expansion of that.
Education,
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, but
Yeah.
very practical, right? I could build on it. I could create resource from it, those kinds of things. So now let's flash forward to the ingress chart that you have and
Okay.
take a chat about what does this mean? What does this look like for us? What
Yeah.
can we consider is going on? And this ingress chart doesn't look exactly like the last.
No, no, right, exactly. Like we always want to remember that, nothing is ever in a vacuum. So you're looking at where are all the other, what stars are talking and what relationships do they have to Jupiter this time around? Well, the big one, as we've been talking about, is Uranus in the mix, of course. It started paving that conversation back in May of 2018. So it'll
Mhm.
be 5 years when Jupiter ingresses into Taurus that Uranus has been doing its work. Sometimes, certainly environmental catastrophe has sadly been the droughts out west and the forest fires and the global warming and, all of that is very, very loud, in the collective for all of us. And of course, like you're saying, the digital currency,
Yeah.
and Bitcoin and crypto and all of that, let's talk about a digital wallet and, all of that is very, front and center, certainly, and will continue to be. But the thing that really strikes me is, and when that happens on March 16th, on that day, you see here is we just in for its 20-year run, Pluto and Aquarius, modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. So we're seeing a very loud conversation, this urge and this, it's not even an urge, it's like this absolute, like it's you either evolve your society into an innovative state or you're done.
Right.
Sorry,
Right.
not sorry. Pluto's not sorry. And this is like, this shall be done. This must be done for all of us to evolve. But you see this overcoming square,
Mhm.
exact to the partile square. Whoa, overcoming. That's a big message. So it's not just everything that we talked about. Now there's this big overlay of Pluto in Aquarius, making its demands, looking at what is the shadow side of this. Yes, we can talk about this idyllic pastoral life of connecting the nature and gardening, but we also have to look at the shadow, and he'll demand that we look at the shadow part of, where can we become, I guess with Pluto and Aquarius, where can we become so rigid and stuck and like dogmatic and
Absolutely.
polarized, about how this has to be. So there's a evolutionary tightrope there that we will be walking with Pluto in the mix for the ingress.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love that you said that like Pluto really is like not sorry. So it's kind of this conversation of it's not unkind, right? It's not that. It is never about fear, Pluto. It's never about those things. But it does, I think, become this conversation of your society and your world are different, and how you make money, how you invest, how you care for yourself. You have to get serious about creating a new way to do that. So I think where this is sometimes a pain point can be felt is as people are, one, bringing businesses into the digital revolution, or people who've been sitting on businesses, practices, ideas, things like that for a while, and they've suffered with the self-esteem or the self-worth, the value to bring it out. I think that this time, really specifically, I feel like the ingress is the day and the time where we've been put under enough pressure that it's like, that's not going to work for you. Not coming forward is not sustainable. And I was thinking about March 25th, and we've got Saturn has moved, Pluto has made this move. I actually think that's the beginning of the conversation, but then Jupiter in its ingress kind of splits it right down the middle for people, right? Where it is like you are innovating your finances and your value, or you are still learning.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like at this particular time, looking at the ingress of it and looking at, the economy and the mundane astrology of it, it becomes a really clear split by May. So this is the chance where I think we can meet here in the astrology and say, okay, if I'm sitting on this, or I've been holding on or limiting the way that I make money or what I understand about money or what I understand about resources and things like that, this becomes a pretty serious conversation, I think, at this time.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely it's just things that have to be looked at in order for our, you know, our collective evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Pluto is, you know, in evolutionary astrology, of course, you know, Pluto is front and center. We look to Pluto as that bellwether about our evolution. And so, yeah, what kind of sustainable society do we have to build? And we have to look to the future. We have to be outside of that box. It's got to come from a whole nother paradigm. And it's just, yeah, it's totally a break from the past. We have to liberate ourselves from the past, from past old, rigid, stuck patterns of thinking around wealth. And Pluto too, like the word plutocracy, ruled by the wealthy, ruled by the elite. So that is just smashed. You know, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the French Revolution, and of course, you know, the peasants storming the palace of Versailles and just coming in and just out with the king, and the outsiders become the insiders. So the real true power lies with us, you know, ragtag bunch of, you know, the outsiders that weren't the Jeff Bezos millionaire, you know, billionaire, not millionaire, billionaire friends. You know, that paradigm is just obliterated, and it's like now it has to do with us as, you know, equals, and we're all sharing this earth together. There are no, you know, there's no hierarchy in Mother Nature. You know, you're all human, and we all have to share these resources together and wisely. And Pluto is totally policing that. Like, it can be a pressure cooker, but it's going to show us blind spots where we have not been doing that. So
yeah, well, and then we've got Saturn traveling through Pisces, which creates a really nice conversation with this Jupiterian energy. I mean, I know Saturn's like, hold on, hold on, hold on. And Jupiter's like, no, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. But, you know, when they get inside of a like a sextile aspect like that, when we have Earth, water come together, you know, the sextile, I say, I'm like, when the planets have sex, that's great for us because it means a pocket of opportunity has been created, but then we intelligently take action on it. And so as Saturn is really bringing Chronos, that time, to an end, to a dissolve, to a transition, I think that the period between November 2022 and March of 2023 shows us why some of the old ways are not sustainable, and becomes very convincing as to, you know, because I needed that. Sometimes humans just need a little pain to move forward. I wish we just didn't. But yeah. It seems to be, we need to be convinced.
Right, a little motivator.
Yeah, a little motivator. And Jupiter in Aries is like, oh, well, I can show you. How about some motivation of why you should start getting it together?
And then Jupiter into Taurus is like, this is why you should sustain it, you know, keep it going, right? It's like the baton is handed from one. We always want to look at that, you know, the one from the previous sign, what's that conversation, and how it's rolling over into the next sign.
Yeah, yes.
It's about sustainability. Yes.
Absolutely. And the fact that I keep in mind always that Jupiter drops the opportunity right in front of you. It's just like, here. But we have to go to it. And after a sustained period of not taking the opportunity, I think about how the story, I cannot remember it in its entirety, but Jupiter would like capture people. Like it would look like the best thing ever. And then they couldn't get away from it.
Oh, it's that magnetic pull.
Right. It's like, yeah, this seems like a great opportunity, but I stopped giving them to you. And now you're just hanging out in what could have been, which is regret.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I think a lot about some of the shadow sides of the mythology that comes with the stories of these planets. Because I'm like, how do you roll, you know? But I think about that too in terms of people. You know, you think about Jupiter, the teachers in our lives, and they give us opportunity, and when we don't take it, they have to stop giving the opportunities.
Yeah.
And instead, it'll just expand what is.
Right. Yeah. No more sugar daddy.
Yeah. No more sugar
with that Uranus conjunction, totally no more sugar daddy. Oh my God. That, by the way, that exact conjunction I want to show you the ingress. Oh, actually, just give me a moment here. I'm going to pull up the chart for the lunar eclipse.
Yeah, which is funny though that you said sugar daddy, because I was thinking about Jupiter in Taurus. It's a Venus sign. Listen, we're gonna want some snacks, all the snacks,
Right.
all the pleasure, all the
All the
sex,
pleasure.
all of the music, all of the art.
All the hedonism. I have my little list of what to watch out for. Yeah, watch the sweets, right? And watch overeating, overindulging, sweets, spending. Obviously, Jupiter, hey,
Yeah.
big spender. No, you better watch it. Over promising. I think too, the shadow of Jupiter could be arrogance or entitlement. I'm entitled to this. And so maybe when you said earlier, Stormy, like the Jupiter is the great benefic, the sugar daddy, and then when we don't take on those opportunities, it withdraws, and then that's maybe when people say, well, what are you taking away, man? I'm entitled to this.
Right.
It could be that. So we have to be careful. But let me I want to pull up that chart for not the Jupiter ingress, but the what do you call it?
The eclipse.
Yeah, the eclipse. This is a really interesting situation we got here. Let me pull the
Yeah, especially with everything, because we're not done with the Taurus Scorpio axes of eclipses in 2023. We're still got the signatures. We're still working those out, even though we'll start to have these dips to Aries and Libra. We're not quite done just yet seeing these signatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're it ain't over yet, as whoever said that. Let me pull up. Let's see. Yeah, this lunar. I really have my eye on this particular lunar eclipse in 2024. So it's March 25th, 2024. Here is the lunar penumbral eclipse. As you can see here, Uranus and Jupiter are only 5 degrees away from that eclipse. Now, those eclipses, the nodes, of course, will have moved into out of the being Taurus Scorpio, but it's still South Node Venus. There it is, the falling away, the decrease of energy, and and here we have as you can see here, this 5 degrees. So that's a pretty loud convo. But what I think was that 3 weeks later we have the exact conjunction at 21 degrees. So here's the aspect Jupiter Uranus conjunction, April 20th, 420, guys, haha, cosmic joke, right? Aren't you in Colorado?
Oh, I am. Yes. Yeah, but it's interesting because it's like, when Jupiter and Uranus come together, you can't always say what it's going to be because Uranus is so erratic.
Wild card. Yeah. Out of bounds is that's his name. Out of bounds. Stealing fire, right? Isn't that Promethean? The stealing fire from the gods, and then he's aligned with the gods, right? Zeus, Jupiter, Zeus. It's like, whoa! I can't wait to see what's going to happen there, or what we can collectively create. It's not like we wait for it. We create this story. We're the captains of our ships, and we're the captains of our sustainable Earth if we allow it. And that's the invitation. Uranus and Jupiter. Come on, man. It's time. So yeah, I think that'll be really super dynamic, that lunar eclipse, with that and then 3 weeks later that coming to that exact conjunction. I think it only happens once, that conjunction.
Yeah, wow. It's still a good thing to think about how our awareness around resources, finances, currency, maybe even in general, will be significantly different at that particular time. And then, in 2023, we see Pluto ingress into Aquarius, but it's a short stay. It's not really there to do the full tour yet. It's here to go, hey, pay attention, because this is what I'm going to bring your attention to. But then in 2024, it's here to do the job.
Here to stay, right? Yeah.
So
like here, it's hanging at that threshold of 0 degrees, and then it retrogrades at 0, and it goes back to 29. So it's at that threshold, like, whoa, such a loud conversation. The 29th degree is a karmic, the anaretic degree, it's a karmic degree, and then the 0 degree, critical, these are critical degrees. And then I always say it's like the preview of the movie, like the 0 degrees of any sign is like showing you, like in Pluto, in this case with Pluto and Aquarius, here, everybody, we're going to show you what the next 20 years are going to look like. So you really pay attention next year. You look at the time when it's in those 0 degrees and it's like, whoa, pay attention, you know, here's the potential.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I just think that, you know, I think about the United States, which does impact globally as well, how different the financial landscape of our world is gonna look, you know.
And you want me to pull up the I have the USA chart. Do you want me to pull that up?
I sure do. Let's have a look.
Let's go there. Yeah, I use the Sibley chart. I haven't had a chance to. I know Chris Brennan believes he likes the Gemini rising, and I'm like my teacher Adam Ellenboss of Nightlight Astrology. He always says, you know, it's all divination. You know, it's all truth. And so you know, it all truth meets at some point, and then somewhere in its source. But this one has the ascendant, and I'm using whole sign houses here. Yeah, so here we have the ingress. Of course, we're in a December 28th, and it is going to be the final pass of 27 degrees, 33 minutes, where the USA was and the Pluto return of the United States. And then it goes into Aquarius. It'll be several years before Pluto will meet up at that south node. So maybe you'll have a conversation a few years down the road about that one. It's not going to get there anytime soon, you know, as you know, Pluto creeps along, and it's already retrograding at 0, so it's going to take a while. But yeah, it's going to be in the Sibley chart, the third house, which is one, you know, communications and the marketplace. You know, when you think about Mercury and, you know, just the ideas and thinking and, you know, the ideals. And here it is, you know, your Aquarius, you know, Saturn ruling that house. Yeah. What comes up for you?
Yeah, all of those things, thinking about that, just like in general, the way that we do business, that so many more, the changes to education and the way that we're able to learn as well. I think it's really different, you know, because there's this conversation or this thought process that we're working out, at least here in the United States, that the job force is changing, right? And you need new skills in order to exist in this digital revolution time. But in order to get those skills, it's thought that you should go to a university, but the universities are inaccessible for some people. But the rise of people creating their own academies, certification programs, things like that, and they can be done digitally. These will be, I think we will see more rises of that in how we're able to learn and acquire the skills that we need going forward, which doesn't mean that universities are bad or will be done for or anything like that, but it will create, I think, that innovation in how the people can get the skills that they need. But what that also requires, when I bring it out of that mundane chart, is for all of us to honestly go into our pearls of wisdom and say, what do I know how to do and teach that is my unique thing, you know, Aquarius, that I can teach to the whole and offer in.
I love that. Yeah. And it really is. And you can see that, especially with the Sag eclipses, the Gemini Sag eclipse axis, how that the whole paradigm, of course, the pandemic had a lot to do with it, but the whole reshaping of this system and the scandal with, what was that woman's name, that Lori something, the college admissions scandal, you know, that was really
Lori Loughlin.
Yeah, you saw how that all changed, and it really, you know, and of course the ridiculous insane cost of tuition. You know, it's like this is not with Pluto and Capricorn, this is not a sustainable model, people, not a sustainable business model. But you're right, it is, you have led the way, the Stormie Grace Business Academy and the Stormie Grace and your YouTube Astrology Academy. So you're ahead of the girl, you're like ahead of the, so Uranian.
But it's so neat because we look at these other places too, like YouTube, whatever you think about that, there is free information on how to start building your skills, Skillshare, Udemy. People are building and teaching courses every day, that
Yes.
are showing us how to transition from this thing, which sometimes you've spent your life doing that. And you're seeing that that skill is not translating in the job force. So the resource, Taurus, your relationships have to get different because is it sustainable for you, right? Like, where are you in your aging cycle? Is it sustainable for you to be on your feet and at that job for 40 hours a week? Or is it time for you to start teaching? You know what I mean? So some of these things I think just really come into check, and the resources are there. So jumping in, which doesn't mean, I also don't think that it means everybody has to come online, right? But we think to the Industrial Revolution, a lot of business changed.
Right.
It
Huge
did.
paradigm shift.
Yeah, and we are recipients of
Right.
that change, positive or negative. We are recipients of that change, right? And so then this brings in the conversation of AI and what advancements and challenges that brings, and those kinds of things are we're in the conversation now. So I do also feel like Jupiter in Taurus takes us away from the idea that we can dream about it anymore, or like maybe it's not really happening, and it's like, no, the conversation of society is on the table, and our participation and how we crystallize that.
Yeah. Like let's get real, folks. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, oh, it's a lot. That's a lot to take on. Like, we're in the make history books time of our
Oh
development.
yeah. Yeah. Think about the babies that are being born right now, in the 29 cap or 0 Aquarius. It's like,
Mhm.
whoa, that's I mean, they're ushering in their whole soul mission, is that ushering in, and the need to break from the past, and the need to be individuated, be your own, the polarity point being Leo, be your own divine self, but it's being in the wisdom and the understanding of a larger, that we're part of a larger society, and we all have to pull our weight. There are
Right.
no entitled king. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating time. I hope that, for all of us in the places where we have gaps in our faith life, whatever that looks like for you, whatever it is that you believe in, whatever you ground into, whatever your belief structures are that guide your life, that we're willing to, one, lean into them, see if they're solid enough, fixed earth. Is it solid enough for me to stand on and to endure with? And also to be willing to let that Uranian energy in and have some radical thinking, because sometimes what we are believing is a story. And so my belief is actually what's killing me instead of what's helping me progress. So I hope that we offer ourselves a window here to see our lives in what may be unorthodox ways for us, but
Yes.
ultimately lead to some advancement. And there will be other things that it's like, that is old and still useful, hold tight to it.
Right. Yeah. We'll know. We'll know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Feet on the ground. Eat carrots. While you figure this out. Grow your carrots, and then first grow your own carrots. Right.
Right. And if you don't know how to grow your own carrots, there's probably a class on YouTube, because there is some cute little farmer or farmeress who is
Right.
out there in their garden with their phone because they've got a little
Right.
snake holdy, and they're showing you how to grow gardens, right? Like with
Right.
carrots. And
They
so
have flung their feather boa out, and that is not their paradigm anymore, and they're become channeling Eddie Albert. And
absolutely. Or, you're learning how to cook and heal inside of your household from a beautiful Indian couple who now also have a YouTube channel and are able to take us into the gorgeousness of how spices heal. Like, we have
yes.
access to a
Right. Oh
world.
God, we didn't talk about international cuisine with your Uranus and Taurus. I mean,
Oh
Jupiter.
my God. It's all of it. It's so
The
much,
smell
right?
of
Like,
the curry.
oh, it's going to be, oh my God, the international cuisine. Listen, I can't wait. Like, I'm
Oh,
excited about right now.
I know. I'm getting hungry just talking about this. I mean, curry and garam masala and like all your favorite spices and whatever cuisine that Yeah, wow, that would be an expansion of one's palate, gastronomical paradise, you know, with that is
Absolutely.
available to us with Jupiter and Taurus. You know, yeah,
Yeah,
it's so much fun bouncing this off of you because
and food and spices in particular were not just about the tasties, they were about medicine and preservation of foods, and you would plant certain spices, buy other things to make sure this happened or it didn't. So you know, even in the United States too, as we can tackle and consider the healthcare system, how much of this has to come back to, do you have some turmeric in your life, because you might not be able to afford that medication, or it
right.
might not be the right medication for you. What's the truth of that? I mean, we're going to tackle all of these concepts that still bring us back to that delicious international food spice kind of place.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yum,
Yeah,
yum,
it's
yum,
really
yum,
good.
yum, yum, yum,
Yeah,
yum.
we've been all over the board today. I feel like it's been really good. And you guys listening, I hope that you got some ideas. Hopefully you're thinking a little bit about the timeline we presented in terms of thinking about it, because Jupiter is going to whip through Aries from December 20th, and then we get to May, and we've got Jupiter stepping into that Taurus energy. So we're going to be right there in it pretty quickly. So if you
Yeah, it's exactly a year. May 16th of 2023 to May 25th. The retrogrades, by the way, will be at September 4th, 2023 at 15 Taurus, and then it'll go back to 5 degrees and will station direct on December 30th of 2023. So we end basically, yeah, we're still going to have, of course, into 2024, but Jupiter will be that final day of next year. Jupiter will be direct again in direct movement. So we'll take wisdom that we've gained,
yeah,
you know, and it gives us that time, that stepping back time to kind of just reassess the big picture. And I also want to say, you know, Jupiter's all about divine grace. So if you're freaking out saying, oh my God, you know, I call Uber for dinner and I make reservations, and I don't make dinner, I make reservations, and you're like, oh, I can't deal with this growing a garden. Look, the divine's going to help you, okay? So don't worry, and it'll make it, simplify it. You know, it'll be easy. Don't worry about it. You too can grow carrots.
yeah,
So,
you too can grow carrots, or learn how to grow carrots, and then you can grow carrots.
right, exactly.
Absolutely. All right,
Improve
guys.
yourself by growing carrots.
You guys, I'm going to make sure that the link to Irlianna's website, YouTube channel, her offer, all of it is in the description box down below this video. Check it out. I will be continuing, and all of us in the astrology community will be continuing to talk about Jupiter and Taurus and the impact that it makes. If you've got Jupiter and Taurus, you'll be having a Jupiter return. So check out my videos on Jupiter returns as well, and just more astro content to guide you and interpret what's going on in those cosmos so that you can bring it into your everyday life. So I love you guys a ton. Thank you so much, love, for coming back and being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Mwah.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.